Proudly brought to you by Temper, because you need a very good sleep overnight. We're going to find out who would have had a really good night's sleep overnight for the Dragons with Dan Young, the assistant coach of the Dragons, joins us on Saturday League kickoff. How are you, Dino?
Good, guys.
Now, 20 points to 6, and you got Val Holmes backing up, and during this Origin period, you got to try and get as many points across the board as much as possible, as quick as possible, Dino. But last night, probably impressive was that you only conceded one try, and it was late.
Yeah, we thought our first half, we played some really good football and defended really well. We were hoping to go out in the second half and put them away, but they probably hung around a bit longer than what we would have liked, and we left 2 tries out there. We dropped 2 balls over the try line, so probably felt like 32-6 would have been a more accurate scoreline, but we'll take the win, and we know we've got to move on pretty quickly because we're going to be playing a good Dolphin side next Friday.
Absolutely. Dean, what was the reaction from you guys when you heard that Kalyn Ponga wasn't going to be playing?
Oh, look, we're obviously pretty happy because he's a world-class player, but we knew if we didn't run hard and tackle hard, it wouldn't have really mattered if Kalyn played or he didn't. So we pretty much told the team and then moved on pretty quickly. We know that Sharp's a real handful, especially on kick returns, so it was really important that we focused on our kick chase. Even though Ponga wasn't going to be there, Sharp can beat defenders quite easily as well. So I thought the boys did a reasonable job on him.
Hey, Dino, when it comes to players backing up from Origin, and Val did last night, and it didn't look like he was affected at all, to be quite honest. There's some really good involvements, but who makes the decision? Is it collaborative between the player, coach? Is it the performance staff? Who decides who backs up 2 days later?
Yeah, look, firstly, you've got to see how the player pulls up from the Origin game and whether they've got any niggles or pick up any injuries. But once you get through that process, I suppose you've got to assess where you are in the season. And I think all clubs would love to rest their Origin players throughout the year because, we're asking so much of them to play at that intensity on Wednesday night and then back up 2 days later is a big ask. But I think with where everyone's sitting in the competition at the moment, it's so tight. I don't think many teams can really afford to leave their best players out. And Val had some nice touches, but he also had some moments in the game that he wouldn't have been happy with. But I can assure you we're all very happy that he decided to back up for us because when someone like him stands next to you, everyone feels more confident.
Dean, there's some great performances across the board. We were just saying earlier in the show, David Clemmer wound back the clock, and so did Jack DeBellin in many ways. You must be very happy, or Flano and the coaching staff must be very happy with the way your pack stood up last night.
Yeah, Clem's been outstanding since he's arrived. I didn't know him before he joined us, but he's just really, really professional. He's got a fair bit of old school about him. He's one of those blokes, if the meeting starts at 8, he's sitting there at 7 o'clock ready to go. And we've got some really good young forwards at the club coming through. You've seen a couple of them this year, and Hamish Stewart and Dill Egan, and obviously the both Couchmans, young Loko. And we've got a lot more underneath them as well that haven't played first grade. So it's important you surround those young, talented players with guys that have done it and lived it and breathed it, and Clem's certainly done that. So we asked a lot of him last night because we lost Jaden Sewer early, so that pushed everybody a bit further out, and Clem put his hand up and, like you said, he wound back the clock.
Yeah, it was a good try by Jaden Sewer. Now, you just mentioned young Loko. So what's the mindset from the coaches, Dino, around a young player like that? He's only, 19 or 20 years of age, hasn't been exposed to a lot of NRL. Do you try and keep him to a specific amount of numbers, like minutes on the field, or do you just see how he's going throughout the game and make a decision then?
Well, first of all, with the process, when any young player comes into your full-time training and into your squad, before you get an NRL jersey, you've got to earn it. And Loko's got a lot of talent, and we said from day one in pre-season at training, he carries the ball like an elite NRL forward, but defensively he had some things he needed to work really, really hard on, and he had a good 8-9 weeks in reserve grade to do that. And to his credit, anytime you give Loko any sort of direction around areas he needs to work on, he really buys into it, and he defended really well in New South Wales Cup, and that's what earned him the opportunity to play in first grade. And when it becomes on minutes, you never really want to expose young guys too much, but we've shown this year that when you give them opportunities, they really want it and they don't want to let you down. And we've played Dylan Egan and Hamish Stewart huge minutes this year because you put them out there and they keep getting the job done. So Loko's doing a really good job for us, come off the bench either side of half-time, and he's only going to get better.
Dino, everyone keeps talking about Gutho and his influence on the club and how well he's how he's just been a great fit for the Dragons. Can you just give us a bit of an insight to what that means, why he's been so influential for the club since arriving?
I think with Gutho, it's just the standards that he holds himself to. Like day one, we know that he's getting on a bit in age, and he's played a lot of football. But day one of pre-season, we got the boys to run up Mount Kira, which is a fair hill down in Wollongong, and he's first past the post, and it just shows how competitive he is and what sort of standards he holds himself to. So that rubs off on everybody else, and he's such just a positive guy. Like, he bounces into training every single day, with a great attitude, full of energy, and, we're so lucky to have him because not only is he set up a fair few tries for us this year, but he stopped so many, and you only have to go back 2 weeks ago to tackle Payne Haas, 5 metres out from your try line when he's coming 100 miles an hour. Him and Jaden Stewart stop him there to get the win is just, huge for us.
Yeah, those sort of personalities, it's infectious, isn't it, amongst a big playing group, and there's so much stress involved. Hey, you mentioned young Hamish Stewart, Dino. I try and compare players, not to where they are in their careers right now, but just compare their styles, purely just their styles. And I watch him, I'm trying to figure out who he plays like, and the closest person I can come to is a young Ben Kennedy when he was at Canberra and going through Newcastle. He's what they call one of those old-fashioned sort of loose forwards. You could throw him in the middle, throw him on the edge. You can do whatever you need to do with him, and he just seems to show up.
Yeah, he's been great. He's sort of his journey, young kid from down in Gerringong, and he's had to fight to get to where he is. Like, he wasn't a out-and-out superstar coming through the under-16s or 18s. He was in those squads, but didn't have a lot of hype around him. But, he's just a real footy head and great kid and just wants it so bad. But he can play on the edge, but I think his best spot's lock forward, and he's got unbelievable ball skills. We've just only seen some of them, but you'll see a lot more in the coming years. He's got a great catch, great pass, and he's a great decision maker with the ball in his hand. So he really links us up quite well to get, we've got a fair bit of strike out wide with Sewer and Luciano and Val and Sully. So he's really important to link up with the halves to make sure that we're getting the ball to the strike out wide.
You've had a good couple of weeks, Dino. Back-to-back wins for the Dragons, and New South Wales winning Origin 1. Can you just give us a little bit of an insight into how things went in the New South Wales camp?
Yeah, it was an unbelievable experience. I worked with Laurie Daly in the Indigenous All-Stars. I was his assistant coach in Indigenous All-Stars back in 2020, I think it was. So to get the phone call to ask if I wanted to be a part of his staff in this year's series, I was just so excited to jump on board. You looked from afar last year, and I was so proud watching the boys play the way they did, being 1-0 down and fighting their way back to win the series. And up in Brisbane, I was very proud New South Welshman. So to be involved this year has been outstanding. They're a really good group in terms of they're just so tight and connected, and it's hard probably for Laurie Daly, myself, and Craig Bellamy coming into camp on the back of a winning series because, they've obviously built something there, but we just wanted to come in and be ourselves and try to add to the program and prepare the players the best way we could, and hopefully they felt like that, and it was obviously good to get the win on Wednesday night.
Yeah, no, it was a very impressive lineup when they went to the coaches' box and you see everyone in their light blue jackets. It was a pretty impressive lineup, Dino. You're one of a good crew there. Now, before we let you go, Dino, congratulations on the win last night and also Wednesday night. For temper, a great night's sleep, night after night, that's the difference. Is there a player last night that you can, probably from a coach's perspective, vote who would have had the best night's sleep last night?
I reckon our old mate Clemmer might have slept well last night. To play the first 40 minutes at his age and then go out and punch some more minutes out in the second half. He got through a mountain of work and did a really good job for us. And I'm tipping once his head hit the pillow, it would have been good night. And until early this morning when his young boys would have been bouncing all over him, first thing ready to go at footy.
What about the coach, Flano? I noticed on the coverage he was very animated in that box.
Yeah, he wouldn't have
He was
slept.
he looked very cranky for a winning coach.
No, that was calm.
Too good.
Oh,
too
great
good.
stuff. Hey, Dino, thank you very much, mate, on a Saturday morning. Well done last night, and again, well done after Wednesday night. And you got a big month ahead, so thank you very much for joining us on the show.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.